The nursery smelled faintly of lavender and old wood polish, but beneath it was something sharper, something wrong. Clara sat rocking the cradle with one hand, her gaze fixed on the wallpaper's fading blue moons. Her brother's German shepherd, Bear, lay across the rug like a sentinel, but when the floor creaked in the far corner, his ears pricked, his throat rumbled low, teeth bared toward the closet door. Clara hushed him, but his growl deepened, vibrating against the bones of the house. The baby stirred, whimpered, and Clara realized it wasn't the dog she needed calm. It was what he smelled. The farmhouse sat at the edge of Millstone Creek, the kind of place realtors sold by calling it charming, though the town whispered curse. It leaned against the slope like a tired man, its windows staring hollow-eyed at the gravel road. Clara had moved back 2 weeks ago, begrudgingly, resentfully, after her brother's accident left him too broken to walk stairs, much less care for an infant. Now, in the lull between dusk and full night, the house was loud with silence. Bear paced the nursery, tail stiff as a board. His nails clicked against the warped floorboards, pausing always near the closet. Clara tried to ignore it. She adjusted the baby's blanket, whispering, "It's just old wood size." But Bear didn't buy lies. His growl vibrated low, like the hum of distant thunder. The closet door was old pine, painted over 3 times. Clara's father once joked that the paint layers were thick enough to trap voices. The thought pressed now against her skin. She got up, walked to the door, hand on the knob, stilled. Her own reflection glimmered faint in the glass of the crib's nightlight. Her eyes looked tired, or maybe scared. A floorboard groaned behind her. She spun. Her brother, Evan, leaned on his crutches, pale from painkillers and the crash that left his legs stitched with metal. His eyes narrowed. "You hear it, too?" Clara asked. Evan's jaw clenched. He didn't answer. Instead, he limped forward, reached down, scratched Bear's head like he'd done since the dog was a pup. The growl faded to a whine, but the dog's eyes never left the closet. "I told you when you moved in," Evan said. His voice was dry, tight. "Don't open that door after dark." Clara blinked at him. "What are you talking about?" "It's just storage." Evan's face twitched. He pressed the crutch harder into floor. "Some doors don't stay shut. Not in this house." Her laugh came out wrong, too sharp. "You sound like Dad." At the name, something flickered in Evan's eyes. Not grief, not quite anger. Something heavier. Clara wanted to push, but the baby stirred again, a soft cry cutting the tension. She rocked the cradle, her throat tight. The sound of Bear's breathing filled the room. Don't open that door after dark. But at night, the closet swelled in her mind like a wound she couldn't stop picking at. The next morning brought a thin fog that clung to the fields. Clara carried laundry down the hall, passing closed doors. She hated this hallway. Too many doors, too many rooms that hadn't been used in years. Childhood memories pressed at the edges of her mind. The sound of their mother's voice calling them down for supper. The way her father never let them play in the east bedroom. Halfway down the stairs, her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "You hear him too?" She froze. The laundry basket sagged against her hip. She read it again. "You hear him too?" Her thumb hovered. She typed back, "Who is this?" No reply. Downstairs, the back door creaked. Bear, who'd been following her, stiffened, ears sharp. Clara set the laundry aside, her heart pounding. She gripped the banister, called, "Evan?" No answer. She grabbed the nearest thing at hand, a fireplace poker, and crept to the kitchen. The door stood ajar, a wedge of cold air slipping through. The yard was empty, but the grass bent as though someone had moved through it. Bear growled low, chest vibrating against her leg. She shut the door, locked it, when she turned. Evan sat at the table, pale, his hands clenched white around a coffee mug. "You didn't tell me someone else had a key," she said. His silence stretched too long. Finally, he whispered, "Not someone, something." Her skin prickled. That night, she couldn't sleep. The baby cried on and off, restless. Bear stayed at the nursery door, refusing to leave. Evan's words echoed. "Some doors don't stay shut." Clara sat in the rocking chair, staring at the closet, though it seemed darker tonight, swollen with shadows. At 2:13 a.m., her phone buzzed again. Same number. Don't let him out. Her chest tightened. She typed back, hands shaking. Who? The reply came instantly. The man in the closet. She dropped the phone. Bear erupted in a bark, so loud it rattled the crib. The baby wailed, and from the closet came a sound, not with settling, not the scrape of nails. A voice, whispering her name. The whisper carried no weight of breath, no warmth of human sound, just syllables pressed in as smoke. Clara's name stretched from the dark slats of the closet, like it belonged to someone who had always known her. Bear lunged at the door, snarling, his body vibrating with the feral certainty of threat. Clara scooped the baby up, cradling him tight against her chest, her pulse hammering in rhythm with his cries. The closet rattled, only once, as though something inside leaned forward and tested its strength. Evan! Clara's voice cracked down the hall. Her brother appeared seconds later, crutches slamming against the floor, face drained of blood. One look at the door, and his body locked into stillness. You heard it? She whispered. Evan's jaw clenched so hard she thought his teeth might shatter. He nodded once. Then he did something she didn't expect. He crossed the door and pressed his palm flat against the wood, head bent as though listening to a heartbeat. Bear barked, frantic. Don't touch it. Clara snapped. But Evan stayed there, lips moving soundlessly, like he was answering. The closet hushed. The air dropped cold. Evan, Clara said again, softer now. What the hell is in there? His eyes flicked up at her, eyes she'd known since childhood, now holding something she couldn't read. Something worse than fear. Not now, he said. Please, for the baby's sake. Just trust me. Trust. The words scraped her raw. The next morning, light poured thin through lace curtains, but the house still felt steeped in night. Clara hadn't slept. Bear had stood watch until dawn, his head resting on his paws, eyes locked at the closet door. Evan was already in the kitchen, grinding pills into his coffee like he always did. His crutches leaned against the counter, one hand braced on the sink as though his body barely obeyed him. You're going to tell me, Clara said. He didn't look up. No, you brought me here to help. You brought your kid into this house. And you're telling me not to open a closet when something inside is whispering my name. His knuckles whitened against the mug. Finally, he muttered, It's Dad. Clara froze. What? He never left, Clara. He's in there. She almost laughed, but the sound died in her throat. Evan wasn't joking. His eyes were bloodshot, hollow, the look of a man carrying too much truth. Our father is dead. Maybe, Evan whispered, but he still talks. That day, Clara went digging. She carried the baby on her hip, walked the halls, opened drawers that hadn't been touched in years. Their father's handwriting lingered in old ledgers, neat columns of debts and feed sales. Receipts folded brittle. But what snagged her breath was a notebook wedged behind the radiator in the study. Inside, pages of frantic scrawl, notations, times, words repeated until the ink dug deep. Don't open after dark. He asked for the children. The dog knows. Her hands shook. She slammed the book shut, pressed it to her chest as if to quiet its pulse. Behind her, the floor creaked. She spun. Evan stood in the doorway, face pale, eyes sharp. You shouldn't read that. You knew. She thrust the notebook toward him. All this time you knew, and you brought me here anyway. His lips parted, but no defense came. The baby fussed, sensing the storm in her chest. God damn it, Evan. Her voice cracked. What are you keeping in that closet? His silence was his own confession. That night, Clara sat alone in the nursery, Bear at her side. Evan had locked himself in his room, the sound of his pain, whether from leg or memory, echoing in low groans through the wall. The baby slept, finally. The house sighed with old timber and ghosts of its own. She stared at the closet. Don't open after dark. Her hand moved before her mind agreed. She stood, walked to the door. The knob was colder than the rest of the room. Behind her, Bear whined, pressing against her thigh. pleading. "I need to know," she whispered. She turned the knob. The door creaked open an inch, then another. Darkness pooled inside like ink, swallowing the light. And then she saw it. A shape, sitting, thin, wrong-angled, folded like bones bound together too long. Eyes glimmered in the dark, reflective as an animal's. The stench hit her, rot layered with something sweet, like spoiled fruit. Her body jolted back, heart slamming. The thing in the closet spoke. Not a whisper this time. A voice. "Clara, you look just like your mother." She slammed the door, chest heaving. Bear barked, furious, throwing himself against the wood as if he could tear it down. The baby cried in his crib, woken by the noise. Evan's crutches hammered up the hall. He burst into the room, panic etched deep. "You opened it?" "I saw." Her words tangled in horror. "What is that?" "What the hell is that?" Evan's face crumpled. He leaned against the wall, head falling back. "It's him," he said. "It's Dad." "No," Clara shook her head, backing away. "That's not Dad. That's something else." But Evan's voice broke as he whispered, "I told you not to open it." The following day, Clara drove into town. Baby strapped to his seat, Bear pacing restless in the back. Millstone was small enough that secrets bled into everything, but the library still held records older than memory. She scoured the archives. Old clippings. Obituaries. Their father's death notice was thin, almost perfunctory, but tucked between the lines was something odd. No burial site listed. No plot, no stone. Instead, family arrangements handled privately at the Carrick farm. Her stomach turned. She found another clipping. 20 years old. Headline, "Local boy missing near creek. Search called off." The name hit her like a fist. Reed Lawson, her childhood friend. The boy who used to walk her home. She remembered his laugh. His hand full of dandelions. She remembered the day he vanished. And she remembered her father's truck parked by the creek that same afternoon. Clara stumbled out of the library into the noon glare. Bow rising. Bear barked once, sharp, sensing her spiral. Her phone buzzed. That number again. "He's not your father anymore." Her hands shook. She typed back, "Who are you?" The reply came, "The boy in the creek." That night, Clara confronted Evan. The baby asleep, the dog restless, the house breathing heavy with storm. She slammed the clippings onto the table. "Reed Lawson, tell me you had nothing to do with this." Evan's face hollowed. He ran a hand through his hair, trembling. "It was Dad," he whispered. "He hurt Reed. And others. We didn't know. I was just a kid. Clara, I thought he was protecting us." Tears welled hot in her eyes. "And you still keep him here? In that closet? Why?" Evan's body shook with something deeper than fear, guilt. "Because he won't die. Because he begged me not to. Because I thought I owed him, even after everything." She wanted to scream. Instead, her voice broke into shards. "You owed Reed. You owed Mom. You owed me." He looked at her then, eyes full of a ruin she almost pitied. "You think I don't know?" His voice cracked. "You think I don't hear them every night? The boys, the girls, the things he did? But he's still my father. And I don't know how to kill what isn't human anymore." Silence fell heavy, broken only by the thunder outside. Clara whispered, "Then I'll do it." She stood in the nursery again, midnight pressing the windows. Bear's growl vibrated like a motor. The closet door loomed. Breathing, she held the fireplace poker in one hand, her phone flashlight in the other. The baby slept soundly for once, as though something in the air had lulled him deeper. She stepped closer. The door trembled. A voice seeped through. "Clara, let me out. I'm so cold." She raised the poker. The door flew open before she touched it, and the thing inside crawled forward. Eyes glowing, mouth twisted, body dragging like a marionette of bones. Bear lunged, teeth sinking into its arm, tearing rotten flesh. The thing screamed, a sound that rattled glass. Clara swung the poker with everything in her. It connected with skull, crack. But the thing laughed through broken teeth. "Daughter," it rasped, You look just like her. Her stomach turned. Behind her, Evan's voice thundered, "Don't kill him." She spun wild. "You want me to let this live?" "It's still him." Evan shouted, tears spilling. The thing reached for her ankle, cold fingers wrapping like vines. Clara raised the poker again and hesitated, for in that moment, she wasn't sure she was striking her father or something that only wore his skin. The poker trembled in Clara's grip. The thing's fingers clawed up her ankle, skin to skin, ice burrowing into her bones. Bear snarled, tearing again, but the creature only laughed, sound scraping like rust across metal. Evan limped forward, crutches clattering. "Stop." His voice broke, raw and pleading. "You'll kill him." Clara's arm stayed raised, her breath ragged. The creature's mouth stretched into something almost like a smile. "Listen to your brother." It crooned. "He knows what family means." Something inside Clara snapped. She brought the poker down. The crack thundered through the room. The creature's head jerked. Dark fluid sprang across the nursery floor. Bear dragged it back, teeth tearing, but still it writhed. Still it laughed, voice deeper now, layered. "Strike me again, girl. See what comes crawling out." The baby wailed in the crib. Evan shoved between her and the thing, blocking her strike. His chest heaved, sweat dripping. "You don't understand," he said, eyes wild. "He's bound here. If you kill him wrong, you'll set him loose." Clara staggered back, horrified. "Bound? You mean you kept him? All these years?" Evan's silence was answer enough. The thing in the closet, their father, or what remained, smiled wide through shattered teeth. "Good boy, Evan. Always loyal." The storm outside slammed the windows with sheets of rain. Clara grabbed the baby, pressing him to her chest, heart thundering with rage and terror. "You knew," she whispered. "You knew about Reed, about the others." Evan's face crumpled. "I was a kid. He told me they were runaways or thieves. He said he was protecting us." "And you believe him?" Her voice cracked sharp, disbelief bleeding into fury. His shoulders sagged under years of secrets. "I wanted to." Clara shook her head, stepping back. "You're worse than him. At least he's a monster. You're just a coward." Evan's jaw trembled. His eyes flicked to the baby. "I did it for him, so he'd have a father." Her stomach lurched. "You let that thing near your son?" His silence was damning. Bear barked, snapping the air between them, forcing Clara's body into action. She backed toward the door, clutching the baby. Evan's voice followed, desperate. "If you leave, it'll follow. It always follows." She didn't look back. Downstairs, the house felt heavier, every shadow thicker. She tried the front door. It wouldn't budge. The lock turned, but the door refused, as if nailed by something unseen. She ran to the back, rattled that handle. Same. Rain hammered the roof like fists. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. That same number. "You can't run. Only Barry." Her breath hitched. She typed back, "How?" The reply came, instant, under the nursery, beneath the boards. She froze. The cellar. She remembered it. The trapdoor in the nursery closet, covered since childhood. Their father had told them it was dangerous, rotten stairs. Clara looked up the stairwell. Bear stood at the top, fur bristling, growl echoing. The baby whimpered against her chest. Evan's voice carried from above. "Don't listen to him. Don't listen to the voices. They lie." But the message buzzed again. "Not voices. Me, Reed." Her throat closed. She returned to the nursery, steps shaking. Evan stood by the crib now, one hand on the railing, his back to her. "You can't fight it," he said softly. "I've tried. You'll see. Best thing we can do is keep it contained." Clara's eyes darted to the closet. Bear stood guard there, tail stiff, growl unbroken. The thing inside shifted, breathing loud, savoring. Clara tightened her grip on the baby. "You want to trap him forever? Feed him pieces of us until he's strong enough to break out." Evan's shoulders slumped. "You don't get it. He doesn't need food. He feeds on us just being here. On our fear. On our bloodline." She blinked. "Bloodline? He turned, and for the first time, she saw it in his eyes, resignation. Guilt etched deeper than bone. "Clara," he whispered, "you don't hear him just because you're in the house. You hear him because you're his daughter. Same as me. He'll never let us go." The baby whimpered. The creature rasped from the closet. "Bring me the boy, my grandson. He deserves to know his family." Clara's scream ripped through her throat. "He's not his. He's mine." She lunged at the closet, slamming the poker against the wood. Bear joined, teeth snapping, fury unbound. The door splintered. Behind it, darkness deeper than any room should hold. And at its center, the trapdoor. Evan cried out, "No, don't." But Clara already knew. The phone, the message, the boy in the creek. She dropped the baby into Evan's arms. He gasped, stunned, and she and Bear heaved the trap open. The stench of earth and rot billowed upward. Below, she saw them. Bones. Dozens. Small and large. Children and grown. Piled in the soil beneath the house. Her father's trophies. Her knees buckled. She gagged, tears hot in her eyes. Bear snarled, snapping at the dark as if trying to bite every bone free. Behind her, Evan's voice cracked. "I told you not to look." She turned, his arms tightened around the baby, his face breaking into something twisted, grief, fear, love warped by years of corruption. "I kept him here, so he wouldn't take you," Evan whispered. "So he wouldn't take my son. I gave him everything else, every stray, every runaway, so he wouldn't take family." Her heart split. "You fed him." Tears streaked his cheeks. "I didn't know what else to do." The thing in the closet laughed, loud, triumphant. Clara's rage surged. She snatched the baby from Evan's arms, cradled him close, and turned to the trapdoor. "You want your family?" she hissed at the darkness. "You can choke on it." She shoved the poker into the floor joists, prying, splintering wood until beams cracked. The ceiling groaned above them. Evan screamed, "Stop. You'll bring the whole house down." "That's the point," she spat. The thing's voice rose in fury, echoing from the bones below. "Ungrateful child." Bear lunged, biting into the dark, dragging pieces of cloth and flesh that dissolved like smoke. Clara ripped at the boards, the structure whining in protest. Evan staggered forward, grabbing her arm. "Please, Clara, don't. You'll kill us all." She looked into his eyes. Her brother, broken, guilty, still that little boy once desperate to believe their father was good. "Then die with him," she whispered. And she swung the poker one last time. The floor gave. The walls shuddered. The house roared as it collapsed inward, dragging wood and bone and shadow into the pit below. Clara clutched the baby. Bear pressed against her, and they hurled themselves through the nursery window as the farmhouse caved into itself. Rain swallowed the night. The house was gone. Dawn crept over Millstone Creek. Clara sat in the wet grass, baby bundled against her chest, Bear curled tight at her side. The ruins of the house smoked faintly, the pit sealed by rubble. Evan's body hadn't made it out. She couldn't decide if that was mercy or justice. The baby stirred, eyes opening to morning light. She kissed his forehead, tears sliding quiet down her cheeks. "I'll never let him touch you," she whispered. A crow cawed from the trees. The wind shifted. For a moment, just a moment, she swore she heard her father's voice beneath the earth. Furious, promising. But the sound faded with the storm. Clara pressed her cheek to her son's soft hair. Bear's steady breath warmed her arm. For the first time in weeks, the world was silent. Not safe, not healed, but silent. And in that silence, she chose to stay.